Hello, Steve White, Trekboy 89 for Steve Outs 89, Star Trek's Gatekeeper. There's a bit of news from Star Trek today. I don't know where to go first. I think I'll go with Patrick Stewart. Now, he appeared on The View. He did interviewed by Whoopi Goldberg and the other cast members, of course. And there wasn't a lot of sort of news or information about the actual production or what they did. Just basically talking about how much they love each other and how great it was to work together again. And he did, say that Whoopi had told him what the show meant to him and so forth, and what fans have said the show means to him. Just your basic Star Trek interview stuff, no real news on Picard or anything. But they did show a little clip from the show, which really rattled me because I was confused by the trailer. I may have been totally wrong about something. I was under the impression that Q sent Picard back in time to the to 2024, and when he was on Earth, he found Guinan, who had been there for like hundreds of years or whatever, and was still there observing Earth, and she was running a bar on Earth. I thought that's what she was doing. And then when they showed this clip and she was talking and she was saying to him, look, I've seen you, she's like, why are you visiting me? And he's like, can't I just visit a dear friend? And she's like, well, I've never seen you like this before. But oh no, actually I have seen you like this before. We need some better alcohol. Do you want the top shelf or the hooch? And that's the scene. But I'm looking around like, oh, I think there's some aliens in the background. I think this is in the 24th century, and he's gone to her to get advice before going back in time. And I'm like, oh no, because one of the things I liked about him going back and meeting her in the past was that they didn't know each other really that well. She would have remembered him from his time traveling and all that, and her, her magic, Guinanness. But it wouldn't have been as much of an issue because she couldn't do or say anything that was going to like damage anything in the character or the future or anything. But now she's in the 24th century. They could give her the Picard treatment, and she could totally change her character. And so I'm a bit nervous now, because before I thought, oh, it's fine, she's just playing herself in the past, so it won't affect anything that happens in the current Star Trek timeline. And I'm a bit disappointed to realise that in Picard's future, Star Trek Picard's future, Guinan is just running a bar on Earth, and she's not on Starship, she's not having adventures, and I just thought that was a bit sad. The idea that she was running a bar on Earth before she went into space kind of made sense, because humans weren't travelling through space then, so it sort of made sense to me, and it sort of limited what their conversation and what her involvement with him could be at that time. So now I'm a bit worried. But the other news was Zoe Saldana was interviewed for another project, and she said she was asked about Star Trek, and she spoke about it. She said, "We're excited. Obviously, it's bittersweet because we are coming together for a fourth time, and one of us is no longer with us, with Anton Yelchin's passing. But honestly, we feel that going back and keeping the Star Trek family together is a way of really to keep him alive in our thoughts and our hearts, because he was such a fan, he was such a devoted artist to the craft and also to Star Trek. So it would be a great way, to go back to work and to get together again." So that was kind of nice. And E.T. said on Twitter that Zoe Saldana says making Star Trek 4 will be bittersweet without Anton Yelchin, but keeping the Star Trek family together is a way to keep him alive in our thoughts and hearts. So I thought that's good, because initially J.J. Abrams went on the investor day at Paramount and said, we're hard at work on Star Trek 4 with the original cast, which bothered a few people because the original cast is the cast of the original series, not, maybe they're his original cast, but, they're the reboot cast. So that sort of bothered a few people. But they were going to make a film with the original cast and then his original cast. And then it was revealed on Hollywood Reporter, apparently, through sources, that none of the cast or the agents knew anything about it. So apparently nothing has been ironed out so far as contracts and people actually appearing when there's only a few months before they have to start filming. So it was looking a bit iffy. But at least now it looks like the actors know about it, and they're open to it. And they seemed to say many times in the past that they would be happy to come back for another film. And I don't know if they were working on contracts or if Paramount was just assuming goodwill and that they would just show up if they were asked. But at least it sounds like it's maybe it's going to happen. So that was interesting. Now we had some pictures from Picard as well, and nothing really new. There was one little interesting thing. An admiral that visits Picard, because Picard obviously he's Chancellor of the Academy, but that doesn't mean he's there every day. So he's at his chateau, and he can just beam anywhere he wants on the planet anyway. So he's at his chateau, and this admiral comes down, and she basically shows him some sort of briefing on a spatial anomaly, and gives him a badge. So that's his cue to go basically to the Stargazer and examine this anomaly, because apparently it's got something to do with either the Borg or what happened in the last season of Picard. And I thought in my head, like I said, that Q sent Picard back. And I realised after, because I saw the trailer, but I just forgot that they showed the crew on the ship slingshotting around the sun, and that actually was a planned, thing that they did. So I kind of realised that, it's not happening quite as I thought it was going to happen. I thought they'd all just be moved by Q, and they'd just be on Earth having to deal with it, instead of actually going back, as a mission. So there's a few things that are going to be a bit different about the season now than that I thought. And then again, with Q, he can just pop up at any moment and change everything. So whether some of that is just teaser, some of that is the first episode and he changes everything, or if we go through the story to a point, then he pops up and changes everything. I don't know what's going to happen. And that's a little bit interesting, but yeah. We didn't really see anything new except the book, which I meant to get to. When I think Elnor is speaking to Picard at the Academy, we saw pictures of him and Raffi in uniform. And let's talk about the uniform for a second. Now, I assumed with the lower decks uniforms with the white lines that was a silver braid, a silver line, but Raffi actually had like a white line on her uniform that was trying to tie into the lower decks uniforms to some level, and it just looks really weird and cheap, and I think they should have just made that a silver line, because often silver is just white or grey in animation, so the idea that that's a silver line, not a white line, would look much better on an actual uniform. So I wasn't sure about that, but we saw pictures of that, and then we saw more pictures with Elnor getting a gift from Picard, which I think the Admiral gave him, and it was a book by Spock called The Many and the Few, or The Many and the One, was it? The Many and the One? Yeah, The Many and the One. So apparently Spock wrote a book, and I'm guessing it'll be printed and we'll be reading it soon. But I thought that was interesting. And yeah, we're a couple of days away from Picard premiering. It's premiering the same day as the 11th episode of Star Trek Discovery Season 4. So that's going to be very challenging, watching both episodes back to back and then having to divvy our time and our energy and our attention to the two separate things, and whatever news is going to come out of Picard versus whatever is happening with Discovery. And I really think they should have at least had them premiering on different days of the same week if they were going to do it the same week. I did a video about that because I just thought that just baffled me. And yeah, so that's all the Star Trek news that I'm aware of at the moment. We got some new pictures, a whole bunch of photos of this Admiral and Picard in his chateau, and Raffi and Picard and Elnor talking and that. And then there was the video with Whoopi, and I think that's about it. So far, I think that's all we've had. Just a couple of clips, the clips of the security going up to the bridge and the Borg Queen on the bridge, and then we had Picard talking to Guinan, which was also highlighted in the trailer. But and I think I focused so much on that I forgot about some of the other elements of the trailer. But yeah, so it sounds like the fourth film could be happening, whether they were already in discussions and sorting out contracts, or whether it's just started and now everyone knows about it. They've contacted Paramount and they're actually talking now. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. It's all over the place, and we'll see. In a couple of weeks, we'll see how Picard is going and where it's going, and Discovery will be finished, so we'll see how that winds up, and then we'll have a stretch of Picard before we get Strange New Worlds, and yeah, the only interesting thing about that was they showed some new shots of the costumes, and they look a little bit like the costumes from Axanar, and some people were sort of questioning that and talking about copyright and so forth, and I don't know, I'm not making any suggestions or allegations or anything there. I just looked at it and thought, that looks similar, and what does that mean? And so forth. It was just interesting to watch the conversation there. But I'm nearly up to 10 minutes. I've been waffling on. I need to stop. I try to keep my videos to 5 or 10 minutes because it's just like if it's a little story, 5 will do. If it's a big story, 10 will do. But yep, I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. The interview with Patrick was nice, but it was mostly just little stuff, talking about his career in general. He still didn't, own up to it being his voice in the Doctor Strange trailer and all that, so that's still not confirmed. He was joking that maybe, one of the other actors was doing a not Captain Picard, a Patrick Stewart impersonation or something, so, he didn't own up to it, but I think we know what's happening. But yep, we'll see. We'll see about all of it. It all happened in time. I'm trying not to be impatient, and just, eventually this will all be, done. I'm going to go. Bye.